I didn't realize how predictable it had all been until that moment slowed everything down. The room was full, relatives, overlapping conversations, the kind of gathering where everyone speaks just loudly enough to be heard, but not listened to. I remember feeling slightly outside of it, even before anything happened. Like I was watching something familiar repeat itself. My mother asked to see the ring the way she always did, with a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. I handed it over without thinking. That small reflex, I think, said more about me than anything else. She held it up to the light, turned it once, twice. Then she laughed. It wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. This is what you could afford. She said, not looking at me but past me, like the question belonged to the room. On your dad's salary. A few people chuckled softly. Not because it was funny, because it was easier. Then she turned her head toward my sister. Show her yours again. My sister hesitated for a fraction of a second, just enough for me to notice. Then she slipped her hand forward. Her ring caught the same light. Larger. Brighter. The kind of comparison that didn't need explanation. I think what stayed with me wasn't the words. It was the efficiency of it. How quickly something meaningful became measurable. Replaceable. I didn't say anything. I didn't trust my voice to come out as anything other than small. That's when I noticed him. He hadn't been there a second earlier, or maybe I hadn't been looking. My fiancé stood just behind my mother, close enough that there was no way he hadn't heard. His expression wasn't anger. That would have been easier to understand. It was something quieter. Focused. He didn't interrupt, didn't defend me, didn't even step forward. He just stayed there long enough for me to realize he was choosing to see everything exactly as it was. That night, we didn't talk about it directly. Not in the way I expected. There was no, "Are you okay?" or "That was out of line." Instead, he asked me one question while we were clearing up after everyone had left. Does she always decide what things mean for you? It took me longer than it should have to answer. Yes, I said. He nodded once, like something had just been confirmed rather than revealed. We didn't say much after that. But something had shifted. Not loudly, not dramatically, just into place. The next morning he left early, no explanation. Just a quiet, "I'll be back in a bit." I didn't ask where he was going. I think part of me already understood that whatever it wasn't going to be loud. By noon, my phone started vibrating messages, missed calls. My sister first, then an aunt, then my mother. I didn't open any of them right away. I sat there holding the phone, feeling something unfamiliar, not anxiety, not dread, distance. Eventually, I opened one of the messages, a screenshot. It was from the community board my mother managed, a volunteer-run organization she had built over years. Local events, charity drives, neighborhood programs, her pride, her identity. The place where she wasn't just someone's wife or someone's mother. She was the authority. At the top of the screenshot was a post, a formal announcement, her name, followed by, has stepped down from her position effective immediately. No explanation in the post itself, just a note about recent concerns regarding conduct inconsistent with the organization's values. Below it, comments had already started, careful at first, then more direct, people asking questions, others responding with vague but telling phrases. Not surprised. Long time coming. I didn't understand at first. Then another message came in, this time from someone I didn't recognize. It was a forwarded email, short, professional, documented, a summary of repeated complaints over time, dismissive behavior, public belittling of volunteers, creating an uncomfortable environment. Things people had apparently reported but that had never been formally addressed. Until now. At the bottom of the email was a name. My fiancé's, not as someone accusing, not as someone emotional, as someone submitting a formal, structured complaint on behalf of multiple individuals who hadn't felt comfortable doing it themselves. He hadn't exaggerated anything. He hadn't even mentioned me. He had just organized what already existed, put it into a form that couldn't be ignored, and then sent it to the one committee that actually had the authority to act. It must have taken him an hour, maybe less. It cost nothing. But it forced something into the open that my mother had always kept controlled, her image. I sat there for a long time after reading it, not because I felt vindicated, but because I realized he hadn't done it to get back at her. He hadn't even addressed what she said about the ring. He had just refused to participate in the system that made that moment possible. When he came back, he didn't ask if I'd seen anything. He just set his keys down and looked at me. "She'll call," he said. "You don't have to answer right away." I nodded. That was all. Later that evening, I finally picked up one of her calls. Her voice was different, not softer, just less certain. She didn't apologize, not directly. She talked about misunderstandings, about people being sensitive, about how things were being taken out of context. I listened. For once, I didn't try to fix it for her, didn't fill in the gaps, didn't reassure. When she paused, I said, "I think I understand things clearly now." There was silence on the other end, not heavy, just unfamiliar. After that, our conversations changed, less frequent, more careful. My sister stopped sending me comparisons, not because she had changed, but because they no longer landed the same way. And the ring? It didn't look any different. It didn't need to. I stopped seeing it the way she had held it up, like something to measure. It became what it was always supposed to be, not proof of what someone could afford, just a quiet, deliberate choice. And for the first time, that felt like enough.